Even at Disney, the rule still applies. Let the Wookiee win. Here's your look at the Diamond Select Star Wars Chewbacca, Disney Store exclusive. Inspired by the original Star Wars trilogy, this all-new 8-inch Chewbacca action figure from Diamond Select features 16 points of articulation and authentic movie details. Presented in an all-new full-color window box, the detailed figure includes 2 weapons, his famous bowcaster, and the blaster he used on Vandor 1. We're going to be checking out Chewie in a moment. First, though, I'd like to thank the folks over at Diamond Select that did provide this sample of the Disney-exclusive Star Wars Chewbacca, which isn't so much just an exclusive to the Disney stores, because I don't even know if the Disney stores are still in existence, but you can certainly go on over to Disney's website and order Chewbacca that way. But again, I'd like to thank Diamond Select for providing this sample we're going to have a look at in this video. Grabbing the tape measure. I don't know why I was doing that. Grabbing the tape measure just to see how Chewbacca stands. He actually is about 7.5 inches in height, or the figure is about 19 centimeters tall. Marking now the second of the Star Wars Disney exclusive figures we've looked at here on this channel, to be compared alongside of Chewbacca that we're about to have a look at. Here's the previously looked at Imperial Stormtrooper. I do like that they are scaled appropriately. In this case, the Stormtrooper goes only to about the shoulder of Chewie. In fact, I would almost even say Chewbacca could be just still a tad bit taller. But I do like that they aren't the same scale, as it certainly would have been the case also in the movies. You really would want Chewbacca to be towering over the Stormtroopers, who stood no chance against him. Chewbacca does come with some accessories. 2 different ways to play, 2 different ways to display. First of all, the figure comes included with his bowcaster. The bowcaster has been molded here all in black plastic. Seems like there's a little speck of something here on mine. Other than that, it's a nicely handled bowcaster they certainly would have had in the film. It does look a little more thicker, doesn't it? But like I said, it's a nice looking blaster. This would be my go-to way of displaying Chewbacca, although there is another way as well. This can fit into his hand, although not the easiest thing to do. Let's go ahead and pick the figure up right now. I noticed his thumb is a hard plastic, and yet his fingers don't seem to be the case. So when you are putting this into his hand, because of course his thumb has to fit around the handle portion, I find it's easiest actually just to take the fingers and just pry them a little bit away. You can also use hot water too, but the plastic at least is soft enough. Let's not drop the bowcaster in the process. It's soft enough at least that you can then take this and fit this in between his thumb, just like that. Because he does also have a twist, not only in his elbows, but he also does have an elbow bend, you can actually get both hands to hold the bowcaster. Somewhat. Just fix his bandolier. The other weapon of option that he does come included with as well is the blaster he used. Let me just flip this around. There we go. Is the blaster he used on Vandor 1. This does at least get a little bit of extra paint that the bowcaster did not have. Like, for example, there's additional brown that they've added to the handle. I guess the locking mechanism, reloading mechanism on the underside of the blaster as well. It also seems to be the case, maybe also in the bowcaster, that they've also added some additional silver in there as well. Just adds it, just to scuff it up a little bit. And this can, again, fit into his hands. Now, again, when you are putting this into his hands, you could also put it in this hand as well, but the hand really just isn't set up to hold the handles properly. It's way too relaxed. So again, you're going to probably want to be using this hand. Although with this blaster, it doesn't sit as snugly as the bowcaster does. This one's going to sit a little bit more looser. But those are his accessories he comes included with. I've now just dropped his fist. Hold on, let me go ahead and grab that. Yes, even Chewie does need a hand from time to time. Let's go ahead and put the hand back into the socket. These hands, this one specifically, because that's the one I always keep going back to when it comes to him holding his weapons, always seems to fall out of the peg. Strange. The figure also comes included with one other accessory. I'm just going to move these ones out of the way for the time being. He comes with a second bandolier. This bandolier is the one that has the shoulder strap crisscross applesauce. This actually is also a different type of brown too, just to hold up the default bandolier. This one has, again, the pouch just onto the side. This has also the pouch onto the side. You can see like the browns are very much different from one another. Don't worry. don't fret. You don't have to actually take the head off of Chewbacca in order to get the bandolier off. Just like dressing a small toddler, you're just going to take the bandolier, slide it over his head, and then slide it over his arm. Wow, that was easy. And do the exact same thing on the other side with the other bandolier. Fit it over his arm, fit it over his head, and then just tuck it down on both the sides. You can also get in there too and kind of get it underneath the collar of his hairy head. And that's what he looks like with the alternate bandolier. And then again, this would probably be the way I'm going to display it if I'm looking then to display it with the blaster from Vandor 1. I still think, though, for me, being the OG look for at least Chewbacca, I think I'm going to kind of revert back after this review and put back the original bandolier just because I like the look of that one a little bit more. But, you know, we'll keep this on at least for the time being. We'll go back to that in a moment. Getting a closer look, though, at Chewbacca's head sculpt. It's sort of strange that it seems in one eye, at least this eye right here, that he's looking off to the side. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear that Chewbacca was seeing someone on the side. These jokes just keep getting worse and worse. Head sculpt is nicely sculpted, although I do think like the paint around the eye area, drawing back attention to that, probably could have been a little bit darker. It seems like it's a little too shiny. Other than that, though, I think they've handled both the head sculpt and the paint that they've applied to the head rather nice, rather effectively. They've even added some additional strands of blonde also into his mane as well. Would you consider this still his mane? I guess his entire body is that. And there's some additional nice coloring that they've also added to the body as well. Sort of like, you know, like a shaggy dog sort of palette of colors. Although I think shaggy dogs are more close to being gray and white and not brown and black. You do have some nice colors of both the brown right here, a lighter brown, slightly darker brown here, and just above that, almost more of a almost brownish gray, to be honest. It does have some nice color that also happens here in the shoulders, and then nicely transitions also into the forearm, so it doesn't look like it's a completely separate type of arm. There's some decent articulation that we'll talk more about here in a second. The one bit of articulation, let me just stop my train of thought here for a second. Wish he could have actually had some articulation here in his torso. Like, it's very much just a block of plastic. A little bit lower down on the legs, which actually the legs do seem like they are a little more off proportion just on the length of them. I feel like the legs probably should have started somewhere up here, but I guess this is sort of where Chewbacca's waist would be. If you do actually take the time and move the fur out of the way, which is a softer plastic, you can actually see, just in case somebody does do that, Diamond Select have actually had a fail-safe in place that they did sculpt the underneath of it actually in the same fur. It's not quite the same color, but at least while flipping this up, you're not going to be seeing a smooth figure piece underneath. Nicely done. I like that. And of course, he's got his big, woolly Chewbacca feet. I don't know why it was just Wookiee feet. Why was I just drawing a blank when I was thinking about that? And he does, of course, have peg holes on the undersides of his feet as well. It's a decent looking figure. Again, like I think the only thing about it is maybe the coloring around the face area probably could have been just a little bit darker. Other than that, I really like the look of him, and I do dig the fact that they actually included two different ways of displaying him. With this bandolier, or again, the one I'm going to revert back to right after this video has finished. I'm going to put this one back on because I like the look of this one just a little bit more. For the figure's articulation here for Chewbacca, we're going to start things off first with his head sculpt. Now, I am limiting things by adding this bandolier on because not only is he going to have restrictions to rotating his head on this side, like the other bandolier, but now I've added it on this side too. It's going to limit a lot more his articulation. You can still rotate it back and forth, but not by much. His head looks up and down, but yeah, not by much. You can take the arms. Those arms can give you a nice big Wookiee hugs. I don't know if I really would want a Wookiee hug. I don't know if he would know his own strength. He would just crush me like a grape. You take the arms, and of course you can rotate them all the way around as well. The figure does have a single hinge in the elbow. It also allows that same arm area, the forearm area at least, to rotate back and forth. He does also have a secondary joint right around the wrist area. And if that wasn't enough, Chewbacca also does have a swivel at the wrist section where the hand actually attaches to this part of the cuff. Now again, like this part of the figure, I feel like they probably could have overlapped a little bit of the fur, similar to what they have done down below here, and maybe just replicate it further up, and hid an articulation point where you'd be able to rotate the torso. Because as of right now, you can feel like there's something rotating underneath all of this, but I think it's more so just on the waist. Again, like if they had just put a cut like right there, just trimmed it off, made it as, you know, straggly as it looks down below here. But if they matched something along that up top there too, then you'd at least be able to get some additional articulation for Chewbacca as well. Legs split out. You can take the legs and bring them forward. You can bring them back. There is no swivel here at all on the thigh portion of this Wookiee. You can also take the legs and bend the knees. You can also rotate the legs, as I'm currently doing right now. Chewbacca also does have ankle pivots, and you can also rock them back and forth this way as well. So yeah, the figure is pretty poseable, short of the fact he doesn't have it where I think he could have had it, right around the torso area. Other than that, nice looking figure. Comes with, again, 2 ways to play, 2 ways to display. That sounds like something that should be on a t-shirt. Anyways, there are 2 ways of displaying the figure. You can, of course, display him with this and the blaster that he had on Vandor 1. Or you can also go back and revert, back in time, have him wearing the pack bag with the bandolier. And that's going to be the way I'm going to display him, along with the bowcaster, his go-to weapon of choice. Overall, again, nice looking figure. Putting him again next to the Imperial Stormtrooper that we had already looked at here on this channel. If you haven't had yet the chance to check out that video, go give it a watch if you have a little bit of time. I'm almost even considering getting a second Stormtrooper and have it displayed on both the sides of Chewbacca. I think that would look rather nice. I mean, of course, a single Stormtrooper stands no chance against a big giant Wookiee like this. Not even really 2 Stormtroopers. I think to properly have them, you know, not outmatched, I'd probably have to get at least, I don't know, a dozen of them. I don't know if I'm willing to invest in a dozen Stormtroopers. I do like the way that Chewbacca looks like next to a single Imperial Stormtrooper. In addition to the additional articulation I had gone over in this review, that Chewbacca, I think, could have had maybe in his torso just to break things up a bit so he wasn't just literally a big block of plastic in his body. One other thing I think that Diamond Select could have packaged along with this Wookiee was maybe a secondary hand. Sure, the hand he has right now can hold both the blasters. The bowcaster, the one I am going to be reverting back to, rest assured, after this video, or the blaster he's currently carrying right now in final looks. This was the one, I believe, from Solo, the Star Wars story, because the bandolier not mentioned in this review is also from Solo, the Star Wars story. But if you were just to budge, just to nudge Chewie just a little bit, first of all, it would really tick him off. Second of all, his blaster would fall out of his hand onto the ground, onto the floor, and he would go, and he would be a very unhappy Wookiee. And you never want to be around an unhappy Wookiee. If they had just included, if anything, just a secondary smaller gripped hand, then he would have actually had a better job of holding the blaster than what he does right now. I mean, look at me. What am I talking about? At the end of this video, you and I both know, as soon as I've finished recording, packed up shop for the day and left for the night, I'm only going to just revert him back anyways to having the original bandolier and the bowcaster. That's the OG look for me. That's the look I want to go with. So for me just to say, yeah, he could have used a secondary hand sculpt. I mean, what am I talking about? I would almost just come across more like a hypocrite than anything else because I'm never going to use it. But I'm just throwing it out there because I'm sure right now somebody was probably thinking the exact same thing. Man, I really wish this guy could have come and included with a smaller hand. It seems like he doesn't properly hold the blaster. Hey, this reviewer said the exact same thing. We're friends to the end. Yay. A big thank you, though, to the folks over at Diamond Select that did provide this sample of the Disney exclusive Chewbacca that we can have a look at in this video. It's not exclusive necessarily to Disney stores, because I think by now it's been blown away by the Death Star. I think by now, the only way of getting this guy is probably online at Disney sites. But like I said, if this one is one that you would like to pick up and add to your collection, it is a Disney exclusive. Once again, a big thank you to the folks over at Diamond Select that did provide the sample of Chewbacca that we can have a look at in this video. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below. Weigh in your thoughts in the comments section down below. And also let me know, too, what did you guys think of Solo Star Wars story? Really, of all the other Star Wars films that aren't part of the trilogy, the prequel trilogy, or the aftermarket watered-down trilogy, it actually, as a standalone film, wasn't all that bad. Not as good as Rogue One. But Solo's Star Wars story wasn't terrible, at least with more recent viewings of it. But what do you guys think of the movie? Was it good? Was it bad? Kumsi, kumsa? Let me know, please, in the comments section. And hey, now, if you are new to this channel, you're enjoying the content that you're seeing and you haven't already done so, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button down below and also turning on the bell notification. Make sure as well that you're coming back here on a regular basis because, well, we have wrapped up the review for this Wookiee, Chewbacca the Wookiee. It is definitely going to be a lot more Diamond Select reviews coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.